As Havoc has arrived at the Barclays Center, and the nation's leader in steals, Briante Weber, is ready to create it all day long. But Isaiah Armwood and GW are out for their 5th straight victory, as Aloe Black gets us ready to punch the final ticket to the A10 championship.
For the tie. Wow! Oh my goodness! Michael Jordan. A big finish. Dreams to come true. Oh, it almost went in. As good as it gets.
The Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. We already have one semifinal in the books. It's been a great day overall for the Atlantic 10 Championship. The first semifinal was a good one. We'll see if Game 2 between GW and VCU will be the same. Who will move on to play St. Joseph's tomorrow in the championship? Well, we are about to find out. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Ala Abdelnaby. He won an ACC tournament championship during his playing career. All right, 2 very different defensive styles between VCU and George Washington.
George Washington would love to play in a half-court set, and they want to implement their 1-3-1 zone. And then on the other side of the coin, VCU wants to get up and down, play 94 feet, and put that havoc on you for 40 minutes a night.
Speaking of havoc, havoc overwhelmed the Richmond Spiders yesterday from start to finish.
And what it allowed VCU to do was get out and run. Turnovers led to easy, fast break layups, and they didn't have to score in a half-court set. They were playing to their strength last night, Tom, and let's focus on the Geico difference makers for VCU. That man right there. They lead the country in steals. He leads them at 3.6 steals a game. And then the other junior in this lineup, Treveon Graham, different kind of ball player. Likes to play from about 20 feet in, can shoot the jumper or penetrate and get to the lane. Very versatile, both of these juniors.
All right, with that, let's take a look at our lows. Never stop improving, and George Washington, the most improved team in the Atlantic 10 under Mike Lonergan. First 2 years, not so much, kind of finding his way. This year, averaging 74 points per game. They defeated UMass in the A10 quarterfinal, their first tournament win since 2007. Lows. Never stop improving, and they'll see if they can continue to improve today with the semifinal matchup. It's George Washington and VCU, and the tip is coming up next. Well, back here at Barclays Center, it was a great Game 1. Let's see what happens in Game 2 for Mike Lonergan's team. You know, Mike is a good sport. He wants attention drawn to GW. And it's time now for our CBS iView through glass that Mike Lonergan was nice enough to wear a moment ago.
All right, I'm on you about your turnovers yesterday, you guys, but make sure you know, besides that, phenomenal game. All right, filled a stat sheet, unbelievable. Usually good when the lights come out. All right, so play. I will not put the handcuffs on anybody offensively. All I ask is we play D, get back on D. Kevin, sit on right hands. Don't let the guards drive. It's not fair to Kevin. All that penetration he has to deal with. And Zeke, try to stay out of foul trouble. All right, try to stay out of foul trouble. All right, let's go, fellas. Now listen, we got a week.
And how cool is that? That was Mike Lonergan wearing our CBS iView through Google Glass. We are so thankful to him and George Washington University for allowing us to do this. But you might be wondering why that picture was so choppy. Well, the thing is, the camera is actually right here. So anytime your head moves, the camera moves. So that would explain it. But I tell you, we are on the cutting edge of technology here at CBS Sports, Tom, with this.
Suzette, I thought it was great that Mike was able to put them together. It was so cool for his team to sit there and watch them as well. Let's take a look at his his starting lineup. Armwood and Creek, 2 transfers, have meant so much for George Washington. Creek coming from Indiana as a grad student this year, led them to 24 wins so far. Meanwhile, for VCU, you and I have seen them a number of times this year. They are full of energy. Melvin Johnson gets a chance to start once again. They moved him into the starting lineup a couple weeks ago, and he has proved to be versatile. He is the A10 6th man of the year. Shaka Smart, the head coach of VCU in his 5th year, 136 wins. He is innovative. He is full of energy like his team. And he also has a lot of friends in and out of basketball, including Spike Lee. Yes, Spike Lee, of course, a huge Knicks fan, but last year, after speaking at VCU, he sort of embraced the Virginia Commonwealth men's basketball program. We saw him last year here at Barclays Center, and here we go. We get a chance to see him again. Of course, repping the Knicks hat in the Nets home building.
I'm just surprised to see him sitting in the 2nd row. He's usually a front row kind of guy. Really making sacrifices here in the afternoon.
Lamar Simpson's at center court. He throws it up, and VCU, the preseason #1 team in the Atlantic 10, wins the tip. And right off the bat, we see man-to-man defense by George Washington. We will see them play 1-3-1 defensively. Weber quickly on a spin move, gets his own rebound, and a fresh 35. No matter for Melvin Johnson.
Instant offense is Melvin Johnson, the ability to knock down perimeter jump shots, and more importantly, once VCU scores, they're in that diamond full court press.
Armwood able to break the press, trailing from behind as Larson finds him on a bounce pass.
Well, the jacket comes off of Shaka Smart after that first exchange. GW doing a great job of breaking that press, not just to run their offense, but to get in and get layups and dunks.
All right, let's lay it out. These two teams have faced each other twice already. George Washington won the first visit, 76-66, but VCU adjusted and won the second visit, 92-75.
That game in Washington, D.C., the first of the two is a barn burner. You see Kevin Larson inside, 6'10", and he's a big, wide body. Turns that time, creates space, kind of bounces off a red.
Most improved player in the Atlantic 10 is Kevin Larson out of Denmark, the sophomore. Mike Lonergan's team is filled with transfers, filled with a few recruited players, but also filled with a number of players from overseas. Brandenburg for 3, and it's no good. Armwood with a second rebound.
Isaiah Armwood, one of the better rebounders in the A10. The transfer from Villanova gives you a last line of defense. Not a great scorer, but does have the ability to finish around the basket 5 feet and in. Now this man, Larson, has a little bit more of an offensive game. Just didn't show it to you on that fadeaway.
There's Melvin Johnson in transition with a crossover. He'll draw the foul. He would have gotten continuation.
Coach Lonergan imploring his team to get back on defense. Transition D is going to be a huge point of emphasis today. We know VCU wants to run out. It's real important today, too, as well, Tom, for George Washington to run good offense. What VCU wants is to pounce on you if you're unsure of yourself in the offensive end of the floor. They want to get out, get steals, and run and get layups. If you can run a good offense, limit VCU's runouts and turnovers and steals, you have the shot of making them a half-court team, VCU, and in the half-court set, VCU isn't nearly as good a team as they are in the full court. They want to get up and down. Let's see who imposes whose will on the other team.
Carino over the top will take it right to the right, blocked away by Brandenburg, and it will remain George Washington ball.
Take a look at it again, coming right at you. There's Patricio Carino. The block by Brandenburg. Carino's had an excellent season. He went down a little bit earlier in the year, gave an opportunity for Keaton Savage as we see Armwood. With the finish, Keaton Savage comes in, plays well, picks up the slack, then he goes down with an injury. Carino comes back in the lineup, and they don't seem to have missed a beat. Still having a great year, able to log some wins. Very effective and impressive how they played a mismatch of the lineup. They've adjusted it all season long.
GW GW with a 2-point lead. Shot clock under 10. Graham for 3, and he banks it home.
We told you that he likes to operate from about 20 feet on in. He has the ability to penetrate and shoot that little jumper. I don't even know if he meant to do that. I'm going to say no, Tom. But I'll take it nonetheless.
Absolutely. Joe McDonald, Mike Lonergan was wondering how much he would be able to go today because of a hip problem. He's in the ball game for GW. Armwood waves creep through, backs his way in, working against Graham, turns to the baseline, draws the foul, and tap the bucket.
Nice soft touch, going one-on-one on the smaller Graham. Armwood, the taller of the two, takes his time, patience in the post, moves him one way, goes back the other. And a little jump hook over the left shoulder with the soft touch and the enthusiasm.
So now Armwood to the free throw line, averaging 10.5. Trying to finish off this 3-point play. And he has 7 already, and substitutions for both teams. Jaquan Lewis, a very talented and fast freshman from Dixon, Tennessee, checks in. Meanwhile, for George Washington, Cartagena checks in, the freshman from Puerto Rico. And also in is John Treveon, and the third player in is Nemanja Mikic. And Mikic, who was the only holdover from Carl Hobbs' teams, had a great day yesterday for GW.
Shot the ball well, and you're wondering why the mass substitutions. Well, he wants to run that 1-3-1. First time we're seeing it today. GW showing you their mainstay defense.
So Dorino checks out. And Nick Griffin, the freshman from Rockville, Maryland, checks in.
Lewis on Cartagena. You very rarely see guys pick up full court. Jaquan Lewis, one of the few, does it well.
There's Griffin, covered by Melvin Johnson, getting it back into the hands of Cartagena. Shot clock is winding down. Whistle blows, and a foul away from the ball is going to go
on Melvin Johnson.
Yeah, Melvin Johnson
with the hold.
VCU fouls on number 32.
Trying to hold a cutting Nick Griffin.
Team second. Number 23,
Jared Guest checks in for the first time. Graham checks out. You will see a lot of substitutions for VCU.
We did a game earlier on in the year, you and I, Tom, 10 minutes in the game, 10 different guys that scored for VCU. So it just showed you their versatility and his willingness to sub all night long.
Griffin tries the putback, no good. 2 errant jumpers by George Washington. Now Melvin Johnson, the pull-up jumper, no good. And Reddick slams it home.
He came north and south and never got blocked out. Briante Weber, 6'9", 250, showing you his athleticism.
Look at all the bodies rolling all over the floor, and somehow GW
Johnson is
he's
slow
in a lot of
to get,
pain.
but he seems to be in a lot of pain.
As Mikic nails the 3, and Melvin Johnson is reeling in pain for VCU.
Right in front of us here, you can hear the yelps of pain.
Well, that is a tough one. We'll hopefully get an update on Melvin Johnson when we return to Barclays Center. Johnson's such a talented player. Phil Martelli said he's as gifted an offensive player that he's seen in the A10. Was tied up near midcourt a few moments ago and went down in noticeable, excruciating pain. The doctors came over and took a look at his knee. Here's the battle right now for this loose ball. Look at his foot plant. Oh, man. And right there, you can see him trying to avoid the sliding Nick Griffin.
Trying to stop while going at full speed in a confined area, and it happened right away, right in front of us.
Boy. And
you can just let out, well, a scream I won't forget anytime soon. 10 points, 10.5 points a game, 2.5 rebounds. You're going to miss that, but he's also a leader on this team.
So Shaka Smart, who came out to check on Melvin Johnson, walked over, chatted with his group. They have depth. There's no doubt about that. But that is a very gifted offensive player and a very good defensive player that now has left the floor.
Yeah, and he's one of their teammates. And there's part of you now that you're wondering about his well-being. And that's going to be tough because the task at hand is to win this ball game right now and not let these distractions get you. But it's hard when someone you care for is in pain.
GW with the three-point lead. Guest with a 17-footer. Too much. Gets his own rebound.
Guest logging more minutes after the departure of Terrence Shannon, the transfer from Florida State, who was taking up a lot of minutes on the inside, coming off the bench. Now those minutes go to Jared Guest.
Treveon with the steal. It's a second turnover for VCU. They'll have mass substitutions in a moment. Cartagena to Griffin up top. This is a GW team. If you've watched them 2 years ago and now watch them again, they are a totally different team.
Running that continuity offense, otherwise known as flex. Cartagena with the little elbow jumper.
Well, it's a 5-point lead. First 5.5 minutes. This is the largest lead for either team, and a whistle blows, and Griffin called for the foul. Let's take a look at Allah's keys to today's game with the Principal Financial Group A.
Well, whenever you're playing VCU, Tom, you've got to limit your turnovers, and then you don't want to settle for jump shots. Get to the rim. And VCU, they want to get turnovers and get runouts, and then more importantly, they want to have a balanced attack, is what they've had all season long. This team, VCU, built for the tourney with their depth and versatility.
VCU averaging just over 75 points per game. That's tops in the Atlantic 10. Burgess checks in for the first time. He inbounded. Graham comes back in along with Mo Alley-Cox. And Graham right away with a jump shot just inside the free throw line.
Perhaps the most versatile player on this VCU Rams team, Treveon Graham, likes to get to the bucket, but can shoot that 15 to 17-footer. How about Shaka Smart halfway out on the floor, trying to maybe get himself into a trap.
Brandenburg with the steal. First turnover for GW, and Graham thought about the three. Here's Burgess, and Burgess off the side of the rim. That was off the leg of Armwood and out of bounds, so it remains VCU ball with a fresh 35.
Burgess, the freshman, coming in shooting right away.
Ball knocked out of bounds. Burgess tried to thread the needle, but Maurice Creek knocked it out. Mike Lonergan began his coaching career at his alma mater, Catholic University, led them to a Division III national championship. Steve Howes is the head coach now, and he's done a heck of a job with Catholic since Mike left. And he went on to Vermont, now in his third year at GW.
Right now, GW in the 1-3-1 with the 6'6" Patricio Guarino at the top of it.
You like a big man at the top if you can get a big man at the top?
Especially if a big man who can move his feet and recover. You don't want a guy who's slow of foot that can't adjust as the ball goes from side to side. But Guarino, good combination of quick footwork and length as well. Tough to pass over a taller 6'6" defender.
Two small guys posting up, McDonald and Brandenburg, and McDonald's shot is off the mark, so VCU with the ball down by 3. VCU with 25 wins this year, George Washington with 24 wins.
Got to hit the gaps. Do not be satisfied with just passing it around the outside of the zone. You want to get in the middle of it. Weber looking to do just that.
From 17 and no good, and a foul called. I believe it's Mo Alley-Cox will be called for the foul over the back.
Maybe take 1 or 2 extra dribbles and get a better shot for Weber on that last exchange. Not that he's not capable of knocking down that foul line jumper, but just increasing your odds.
Well, how about this? Savage, we were told, was not going to play today. At least they didn't think so. And here he is entering the ballgame with 12:48 to play here in the first half.
And you see the reaction of the GW faithful, but Tom, I believe we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled even. He told us right to our face. Hey, Coach, is Savage going to play? No, he's not going to play. He's not going to play.
Jumper no good. He hasn't played since the 18th of January. Armwood with the steal. Gets it right to Savage. Savage's injury was a fracture to his foot. He's been practicing a little bit. Mike Lonergan said after the game yesterday that they hoped to have him play yesterday, but it didn't look like he would play until the postseason tournaments, whether it be the NCAA or if GW somehow doesn't get there, which they will, then in the NIT. Savage, the sophomore from Fairfax, Virginia. He's limping just a little bit. Actually, he's not limping a little bit. He was limping a whole lot. There it again. There it is. The hands are moving every which way in this 1-3-1, and it's a tight 1-3-1. It's not a spread out 1-3-1. I guess it can be. Shot clock down to 10. Brandon Bird with the shot clock at 5. Shot clock at 2. Weber just chucks it up, but it's an air ball and a violation. 11:41 to play here in the first half. Shaka Smart's team having to contend with this 1-3-1 imposed by Mike Lonergan. GW with a 3-point lead over VCU, our second semifinal game. The winner here will face St. Joseph's tomorrow, and Isaiah Armwood, well, he has faced St. Joseph's before, but as a member of the Villanova Wildcats, he's had a pretty good start.
He has had a good start, 7 points, while the whole rest of the team has 7 as well. Operating on the inside. He's their last line of defense, but giving them some points tonight.
All right, let's take a look at some teams hungry for a bid, brought to you by Golden Corral. GW is one of them. Obviously, UMass, which lost yesterday to GW, is another. And St. Joseph's, I think, has solidified an opportunity to get one of those bids.
And the way they played today, great win earlier on in this tournament. Earlier today, I should say. So they're playing great. Their seniors have led the way. They're going to rely on them moving forward.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Isaiah Armwood. He transfers from Villanova. A lot of times when guys transfer from a school, they have a little, bad taste in their mouth. And Armwood says, no, it's quite the contrary. He goes, I just looked at the landscape and realized they have 3 other big men. I'm not going to play. He was named captain just before he transferred.
We're talking about Javon Pinkston, one of those guys he'd be having to fight 4 minutes with. But when you get a chance to hang around Coach Lonergan for a little bit, too, you can see why he was attracted to coming here. Great guy, and even better coach.
Burgess with the missed 3. It's the second missed 3 of this half. GW, last 5 trips, 3 turnovers. So that's exactly what VCU wants to do to an offense. Subtly, they also want to do what Reddick just did, is sort of clog the lane and slow these cuts back and forth. Boy, you have to be conditioned, and you have to have a lot of the basketball savvy to play this 1-3-1 at the level that GW does. Graham for 3, and it's good.
Good ball movement and good patience, but you're right, Tom. There's a lot of running around in the 1-3-1. You don't see that often. VCU getting beat back on defense.
No, over the top, Creek is able to lay it in to give give GW a 2-point lead.
Too easy that time. Briante Weber wide open on the baseline. Armwood got caught napping a little bit that time.
Yeah, I think he was surprised at the quick pass to the baseline. Shaka Smart with Mike Rhodes, his main assistant, talking to Tim Kelly, one of the officials.
VCU with the opportunity with the ball out of bounds underneath to pick up full.
Burgess with the steal.
Lawson never looked at the bucket. If he just turned around and looked at the bucket, he would have had a little 12-footer. Tried to rush the pass, really, as opposed to just assessing the situation and being patient.
Burgess trying again, and it's no good. He's 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. Doesn't get it to go. It's knocked out of bounds, and it will be VCU ball. Susanna, do you have an update on Melvin Johnson?
Yeah, I sure do. So Melvin Johnson, who left with that left knee injury, he is questionable to return. We saw him walking out to the training room, and he could not put any pressure on that. So just questionable at this point, Tom.
All right, Susanna, we appreciate that. We always wish the best, obviously. Melvin Johnson is a great player to watch, and he fits perfectly into Shaka Smart's system. Doug Brooks checks in. Burgess checks out. Lewis running the point for VCU.
GW once again in that 1-3-1.
Yeah, Treveon is the guy in the middle. He just contested that shot from Graham. And Reddick tips the rebound back out into the hands of VCU.
Trying to hit the gaps is VCU. The gaps of that 1-3-1 zone that leads to a turnover. And that's their 5th turnover of the game thus far.
Well, we expected that there would be somewhat of a frenetic pace. It's so different, the styles that are producing that frenetic pace.
And you got to remember, VCU is used to playing at that frenetic pace. So if you were to get the game sped up, the advantage goes to VCU. But George Washington able to be methodical when they have the ball on the offensive end of the floor.
Foul called on the floor as Maurice Creek was starting to drive to the basket. Treveon Graham called for the foul. That's his second and the 4th team foul. 9:08 to play. And Guest will check back in and Graham will check out. So the 5 on the floor for GW: Garino, Creek, Larson, Capriva, and McDonald, who will inbound.
GW has quick hitters from the out of bounds underneath. That time, VCU playing some pretty good D.
Larson got position against Reddick. The block by Guest. Larson forces it right back up.
Carves out just enough space to get that ball on the glass. Larson's a little bit wider body than Guest is. Used that to his advantage.
VCU won for its last 8 looks. Maybe one for its last 9. And Creek with the rebound.
Good initial steal that time by Larson. Initial quick post, unable to stop him.
Shaka Smart calls the timeout. It's the largest lead for GW. It's 20-14 with 8.5 to play. Well, the big men have gotten involved for George Washington. The last 2 plays, it's been Kevin Larson working hard to seal the deal. .30 to play here in the first half. GW, which came in as the number 3 seed in the A10 tournament, has jumped out to a 6-point lead, 20-14. Yesterday, Mike Lonergan, after his team defeated UMass, and it wasn't an upset because GW was ranked higher or seated higher, said, "We're just looking for a little respect out of George Washington." Well, I think his team and his program has the respect, not only of everybody in the Atlantic 10, but even beyond. This 1-3-1 defense that you're watching as Noel Cox gets his way to the basket. Mike Lonergan has run this defense since his days at Catholic University.
When you wonder about the effect of Johnson and his absence, since he's left, VCU is 3 for 9 with 3 turnovers, so a little bit out of sync. Perhaps need some time to adjust to him not being out of the floor.
Larson down low, sealed off by Mo Alley Cox. Trying to get a little bit of space. And Weber with the rebound. Good job by Mo Alley Cox. Weber off the glass.
Everlasting energy, has the ability to go all day. Coach Shaka Smart called him the most energetic guy I've ever been around, and you see why that time. If you don't stop him, he's going to take as much ground as you allow him to.
Still feeling it from yesterday. The 3-pointer is good. It's his 2nd bucket of the day.
Picking up right where he left off yesterday. You mentioned how the great game he had shooting the basketball. Weber answering on the other end.
So back and forth we go. GW with the 3-point lead.
And like other teams against VCU, sometimes they will ask one of their bigs to come back and help bring the ball up the floor. A pressure release, Tom, is what we referred to it in the past. And GW is going to need that today.
Mikic again. It is no good. Garino trying to put it back. Now Weber leading the break.
Mikic isn't shy, is he?
Oh, not at all now.
You leave him open, he is cocked and loaded, ready to go.
Outstanding student is Nemanja Mikic. The only holdover we said from Carl Hobbs' regime at GW. He hasn't played a whole lot. He hasn't had that much of an impact. Yesterday he did, and today he's already made a couple threes for GW. Graham's about to check back in for VCU as Burgess with the steal. Running with Briante Weber. He doesn't need his help, and he lays it in.
And that's what VCU wants to do. They want to get out and deny passing lanes, result in turnovers, and then get easy buckets on runouts. GW coming into this game wants VCU to be a half-court team. Battle of two wills here this afternoon.
Look at Mikic stepping back. It's still a 2, but he was trying to get beyond the arc.
At what point do you start covering him, face guarding him, because he's obviously on a roll. And if GW has any smarts, which they do, they're going to keep looking for him. I would imagine VCU to be up on him a little bit more demonstrably here in the second half. So I should say in the first half in this second game.
Now Garino running the offense between the rings up top. Good ball player, can handle it.
Really good in the open court. Loves to get out and run and finishes. Turnover, GW.
6 turnovers for George Washington. Well, we've got ourselves a ball game. The third time these two teams have faced each other. Burgess in the open floor with the easy lay-in. And how about Mikic? He's coming to life, and he's finding his rhythm for the Colonials.
Welcome back to the Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York. It is the Atlantic 10 semifinals, and right now we are 26-22 George Washington with the University, and I am with St. Joseph's head coach Phil Martelli, who won earlier today against St. Bonaventure. Coach, you guys overcame kind of a slow start, but you were able to turn it on in the second half. How were you able to put them away?
Well, it was our defensive performance in the second half. I think they shot 15 or 16%. And great effort by DeAndre Bembry on a wonderful player, Matthew Wright. And we have to call it the way it is. Bonaventure wore down. Their legs wore down in 3 games in 3 days.
Well, tomorrow it'll either be George Washington or VCU. What's it going to take for your guys to come out on top against either of these teams?
We're going to have to stop this noise if it's VCU. This feels like we're in Richmond. We're going to have to play with a lot of energy and not turn the ball over against either team.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Tom, back to you.
All right, Susanna, thank you very much. Phil Martelli's done a great job with his team. There's no doubt about that. And he'll have an opportunity to win an Atlantic 10 championship tomorrow at 1 o'clock on CBS against either Mike Lonergan's GW squad or Shaka Smart's VCU squad. Hey, coaches are smart. There's no doubt about that. Mike Lonergan realizes that Nemanja Mikic, a senior, is rolling right now. So he's going to sort of design things to get him open, isn't
And you got to recognize the hot hand, and you've got to milk it for as long as you have it available to you. And you mentioned Mikic and his ability to shoot last night. Last 2 games, 6 for 9 from beyond the arc, 3 of 4 today. So recognizing the hot hand, not being selfish, and moving the basketball and finding him.
Weber misses the shot but gets the ball back, and he'll go to the free throw line as he's fouled.
You've got to always know where Briante Weber is out on the floor. Even when you beat him and you go past him, he's going to come from behind and recover about as quickly as anybody in the country. You got to know where he is at all times. His steals sometimes come from behind.
Well, he's VCU's all-time leader in steals. VCU down by 4. Weber's second shot is good. He missed one. He made one.
Back in the full court, diamond press. Ooh, Larson almost walked.
But all of that led to the steal by Weber. And Weber's fouled on the floor. They wave off the shot. There was some continuation, but he went about 3 or 4 steps before he let it go. So 3 straight GW turnovers.
Getting the ball out of bounds underneath. We take a look at him again. Here he is, coming at you full speed. The reach, way before he got the shot off. Good call, foul on the ground.
4:25 to play here in the first half. Neither team really in danger foul-wise. Lewis for three, no good. And the loose ball picked up by Larson, punched out of bounds by Briante Weber. Well, he's flat out annoying, isn't he?
He is. He's a pest out there. And again, you've got to know where the pest is all the time or he's going to make you look bad. One of the few times he comes out for a little bit of a breather, Jordan Burgess in his stead.
Well, the leader, as you see in the college basketball, in the steals per game.
3.6, Tom. Think about that. Think about every night you line up your team, he's going to give you 3.5 steals a night. That is unbelievable. That's out of control, 3.5. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Foul is called on Lewis. 3:56 to play here in the first half. We've got a good one in our second semifinal at Barclays Center. Coming up on A10 at the half, Adam Zucker, Wally Zerbiak, Mateen Cleaves, John Rothstein, and Jerry Pobb. Of all the latest news going around college basketball, scores and highlights from other conference tournaments, plus first half highlights and stats back here at Brooklyn. Some of the headlines, and there are a lot of them. You know, there are 11 teams that have already qualified for the NIT, which means that they have not advanced to the NCAA tournament, and that's all part of the storyline. Upsets in the ACC tournament. North Carolina lost. Syracuse had 4 or 5 3-point opportunities in the last 10 seconds of their ball game against North Carolina State. How about tonight, later on CBS, number 8 San Diego State against number 20 New Mexico for the Mountain West title.
Not just two of the better teams in that conference, but two of the better teams in the country. San Diego State with their vaunted defense, New Mexico with their big front line, complemented by the reigning last year's Mountain West Player of the Year, Kendall Williams. They're a very balanced team, New Mexico. This is going to make for a heck of a matchup. And those two teams you need to keep your eye on moving forward, too. New Mexico, after being ousted by Harvard last year in the second round, they're on a mission this year. And then San Diego State, with their great defense and Coach Fisher, the way he coaches his team up towards the end of the year, they're better playing their best ball right now.
George Washington hasn't really been able to convert too much recently. The bank shot is no good, but they still lead it by 3. Well, they're staying with the 1-3-1. You see them sometimes move back to a man-to-man, but this has been really effective. I've been really impressed with it this first half.
Well, the toughest places to be out on the floor if you're the offense is the corners, because they're built for traps. So you want to keep the ball out of the corner that time. VCU did a good job of going right down the middle of the lane.
Well, Guest was able to lay that one in, and he makes it a 1-point ball game, 26-25, and the timeout called by George Washington. He bounced a couple of times and realized, oh yeah, I'm right in front of the cylinder. I'm just going to lay it in. You saw Walton walking in front of us, one of the officials for today's ball game. And I neglected to inform everybody that besides Lamar Simpson, that Earl is an official today, and so is Tim Kelly. They haven't been a factor in this first half. 3 minutes to play in this first half. VCU trapping with Lewis. They nearly picked off another one.
With some debris on the floor. I hope no one gets close to it where they slip and slide on it. It's out on the corner by the half court, so it looks like everybody's safe for now.
Ball is kicked out of bounds by Armwood. There's the debris.
Not a lot to worry about, but still something to keep your eye on.
We've got pom-poms everywhere. The Hawks is flapping its wings in game number 1. There's usually some feathers that are floating around the court. We've got a 1-point game, GW on top. But they've turned the ball over 4 times in the last 5 trips. VCU trying to capitalize. Weber back in, finds Graham for 3, no good. Rimmed out, Reddick working hard for the offensive board.
And how did that shot come about? The penetration, hitting those gaps by Weber. The defense collapses when he gets to that, past that first line of defense, and that set up Graham's jumper, and it also set up Reddick's offensive rebound because the defense had to move.
Weber from the free throw line gives up the pass. Here's Brandenburg for 3!
Right into their full court diamond. Looking to trap, get some steals. Want to send him up the sideline, and here come the traps. Once they go up the sideline, here come the traps.
Forces the turnover.
Excuse me, Tom. Best way to beat it is right down Broadway, down the middle of the floor. Take a look at Brandenburg's three from the corner. They're a much better team. And then it sets up the full court havoc. Here comes the trap by Reddick. Good ball movement. Just a little bit too high, leads to a turnover. The crowd getting into it, Tom.
Well, they do travel well. There's no doubt about that. 5 turnovers for GW in the last 6 possessions. And a traveling violation called on Graham. 1:34 to play here in the first half.
And he had the gap to attack. He just kind of went a little bit too quickly. Ran before he put the ball on the floor.
GW with 10 turnovers, VCU with 6.
Again, you want to bring it up the floor in the middle. You don't want to have your back turned. Yeah, you don't want to have your back turned. When another defender sees your back as the ball handler, that's when they're coming to pounce. It's all about vision. Take a look at it again. Here's your back. Here comes the defender. And that's how they're taught at VCU. When they see a ball handler turn his back, the vision gets impaired. You can't see that double team come, and that's when they pounce.
GW in the 1-3-1. Brandenburg trying to get a second jumper, no good. Reddick has it stripped away. Mikic with good hands, helped out by Larson.
Brought the ball down. Keep the ball up above your head, big fella. That way the little guards can't take it.
Mikic's 3, which was originally a 2, was the last field goal for George Washington. Here's McDonald down low to Larson, and the drought is over for GW.
Good penetration that time. Found an easy 2 with Larson in the paint.
That's a little too easy by Weber right there.
Stop the ball. I know he's the quickest guy out on the floor, but you have to stop the basketball, force him to slow down, and then have the help come. If you're the big, you've got to play to your advantage, and your advantage is your teammates. Crowd on their feet, Tom. It's a lot of black and yellow here today.
Yes, there is. Slight difference between shot clock and game clock. And Armwood will go to the free throw line and try to finish off a 3-point play.
Too many dribbles right down the middle of the defense. Reddick slow to get over there. Got to put yourself in position. He tries to reach. We got the foul called on him.
Armwood trying to get to double digits in points. He has 9 points and 4 rebounds, make it 10 points and 4 rebounds. And GW has the lead. Last shot for VCU.
No fouls here if you're GW. Just got to get a hand up.
Brandenburg for 3, and it's good as time winds down. Brandenburg on the extra pass from Graham as the clock winds down to 1.5 when he let it go through the nets. Well, great recognition by Graham to find Brandenburg. So Shaka Smart's team finishes up well. They're up by 2, and he's standing by with Susanna Collins.
All right, Coach, a tight one here. You guys lead by 2. What have you liked about your team's performance in this first half so far?
Well, I think our guys are playing with really good effort. We have to be a little bit more intelligent on the defensive end, leaving shooters that we got to get to. But I think if we clean those things up and we keep the effort as high as it's been, we're going to be in good shape. You
guys have been forcing a lot of turnovers, especially late in that half. Was that part of the game plan coming in here?
That's what we do.
That's what you do. All right, good luck second half. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom?
And Susanna, thank you very much. Shaka Smart's team leads it by 2, 33-31. Coming up, it's A10 in the update on George Washington with Susanna Collins. Susanna?
Hey, Tom. Yeah, I just spoke to Coach Lonergan. I asked him what he wanted to see from his team in the second half. He said more energy. He said VCU has been doing a really good job of taking advantage of their tiredness. He also said they need to take better shots. Not very happy with their shot selection. He also pointed to the turnovers, said they need to take better care of the ball, Tom.
All right, Susanna, thank you very much. Speaking of being tired, yes, they've only played one game, but Mike Lonergan and GW, they didn't get back to the hotel till 1 a.m. And he's implemented this system about a year or so ago. He started taking the players' cell phones the night before games so they didn't sit in their room and go on Twitter and go on Instagram, if they even do that, or even text friends. But they still got in about 1 a.m., got up early this morning, went through a little bit of a walkthrough, and now they're just 20 minutes away from advancing to the A10 finals to face St. Joseph's, the same for VCU. That's a great backdoor.
Gotta make that, Joe McDonald. Can't draw up an any easier play or a closer look. Guarino with the steal.
And he'll have a chance to try to make it easy, and he does.
So good in the full court. Still working on his half-court game. The little 15 to 17-foot jump shot, but when he gets out and running in transition last night and today, he really relishes and thrives when he's out running.
Burrito's first points of the day. Burgess has been trying from three, and he finally converts. And it's 36-33 VCU.
Well, he has the obligatory heat check at the beginning of every half. He took one in the first minute of the first half, missed it. This time, the heat check is working for him.
Guarino with the pass tip to Creek for three. Good!
Creek averaging about 14.6 points per game. The senior, 6'5", so he's got nice length to him, can shoot over defenses.
Foul will be called against George Washington. All right, GW with a couple of hoops already in this half, and off transition.
Yep, it's usually VCU with the steals, but it's Guarino this time playing the passing lanes and then finding the open man, Maurice Creek from the corner.
So we're tied at 36, 18:40 to play here in the second half. Ball tipped away by Guarino.
You see where Reddick got it in the corner. It led to a double team, and this Isaiah Armwood in transition.
That was an odd lead pass on a bounce. It almost looked as if he palmed it on a bounce.
Didn't want it to be too heavy of a pass. Wanted to lead him to the bucket.
Weber down off in a three-point shooter. Has it out along the perimeter. Graham can shoot the three, and does.
And Creek, the wingman on that 1-3-1, slow to get to Graham. Good ball movement by VCU. And you know, if you and I know Graham can make that, I'm sure the GW Colonials do as well. Just caught napping on the defensive end.
21 of the 39 points from VCU have come from beyond the arc, as their lead is at 1.
A lot of attention is paid to VCU full court defense. They play a pretty good half-court defense too, Tom. They like to deny and play passing lanes and not give you the middle. And we talk about the defense. Well, how about some offense for the Rams as well? The ball movement, Weber to Graham for the three.
Treveon Graham, a member of the Atlantic 10's first team. He's one of 4 players from VCU that received an honor, including the injured Melvin Johnson. Lewis thought about the three, instead dribbles in, leaves it for Graham, who will go to the free throw line to try to finish off a three-point play.
Not sure how he even got that up to give it a chance. Nice soft touch by Treveon Graham. Take a look at it again. The pass out to Lewis. Lewis penetrates. There's the dish to Graham. Absorbs the contact, and it finds a way.
So Graham to the free throw line. Shaka Smart called over Lewis and chatted with him for a moment. You know, he's the one that made the pass.
Yep.
And I could see what he said. He said, don't be afraid to shoot. He was wide open for a three, instead penetrated to give it to Graham.
And think about it. That says something about the evolution of this freshman, Jaquan Lewis, because when we did a game earlier on in the year, he said, when I asked him, Coach Smart, about him, he said he hasn't made a shot he doesn't like. He'll shoot it all night long if I don't tell him to stop. So for him to have to urge him to shoot that now shows you the progress, the evolution that this young man has made in a short period of time at VCU.
All right, so the 1-3-1 again for George Washington. Graham from the free throw line, and he had great control and also a big-time positive body language for that shot.
And he elevated, too, on that jump shot as well. Made up his mind, a decisive dribble, using his dribble wisely, got him to his spot. Ooh. Got to block out the athletic Garino.
Well, he read that beautifully with the two-handed jam. I think the pace has picked up a little bit offensively in this half.
Well, both teams are a little bit looser. Not worried about the consequences, just playing freely right now.
Garino again. Blocked by Graham. Well, Olive said it a moment ago. You got to box out. Listen to this. Boom.
Perfect timing by Garino, but no block out by the VCU Rams. I'm sure that'll be on the videotape tomorrow.
By the way, Graham has 3 personal fouls now for VCU as Garino goes to the free throw line. Garino out of Argentina, sophomore. Takes the first free throw. 61% for the year, so Graham will check out. How long does he check out, Oliver, with 3 personal fouls?
Well, as long as you've got a tight game, you want to keep him out, I would imagine, till about the 7, maybe 7.5-minute point.
Okay.
And then you bring him back in. But if things start to get out of control and you start losing in this game by a wide margin, you don't wait till 7 minutes. You bring him in earlier than that.
Well, it's back to a 1-point game as Garino makes both free throws. He's at the top of this 1-3-1.
And the reason why I say long, keep him out that long, is because you've got depth. If you didn't have the number of people as we see, there's Melvin Johnson coming back to the bench. He's got a brace and crutches. There's the young man after a traumatic first half.
Melvin Johnson injured his leg in the first half. He made a few shots and then was diving for a loose ball and got his leg caught.
It's good to see him not writhing in pain like the last time we saw him when he was walking off the floor.
Hear the chants from the fans chanting his name, Melvin, Melvin. Weber for 3, go!
He doesn't shoot a lot of them, hence the defense is playing way off of him, but he's able to knock it down, and some enthusiasm by Weber as well.
9 threes now for the year for Briante Weber.
That's not a lot.
Not a lot.
He's just adjusting this year. He's done a great job of playing the point guard position. Of course, we all remember Darius Tias, point guard for many years of this VCU Rams team. Well, the helm has been, it's changed a little bit now. You've got Briante Weber, who isn't a point guard, learning the position, and he's done a good job thus far.
Armwood fouled, so he'll get a couple of free throws. Briante Weber is the all-time steals leader in VCU history, and oh yeah, he can also fire the rock when needed. Well, back here at Barclays Center, the second half of our semifinal ball game. Are you a real fan? Prove it. See the action in the Coke Zero Social Arena. And now we'll look at a fan tweet from today's game. And this is from Len Robbins. I have no rooting interest, but wouldn't be the worst if #Havoc won for Melvin Johnson. Melvin went down with a knee injury.
Well, he's seen a lot of havoc today, implemented with our eye tracker. And here they are, picking up full court. Briante Weber at the head, and all they want to see is the back. As soon as another defender sees the ball handler's back, they pounce. Here's the double team at half court with arms outstretched, trying to put as much pressure on the ball as possible, and it leads to an errant pass and a turnover.
You played the game for a long time, and you've been around the game even as a coach. How hard is it to teach what Shaka Smart has implemented at VCU?
Oh, well, there's a lot of things that go into it. It's not just helter-skelter. There's also rotations and man responsibilities. What do I mean by that? When guys go and make a play for the ball, the rest of the people playing behind have to play like a backstop, kind of a pick up the loose pieces, if you will. So it's interdependent. Everybody depends on everybody else, and you have assigned places you're supposed to be depending on the movement of the basketball. That does not get taught overnight.
Armwood missed the first free throw. Here's the second. It's good. He has 13 points. GW down by 3. VCU has thrived from beyond the arc in this ballgame. 8 of 17 from beyond the arc. And the steal by McDonald. And Weber and Lewis try to trail McDonald, but he's able to lay it in. Bad hip and all.
Good strong move that time, holding off the defenders and getting to the rim in traffic.
All right, so now McDonald is leading the 1-3-1, and Garino is off to the wing.
Garino again from that left wing position. He's a trap guy, so if the ball goes in the corner at the baseline or up top, he's going to be ready to pounce.
Brandenburg got himself free, guessed with the rebound.
Smart move. Get it back out, fresh 35. Let's see whether or not they take advantage of it or get the quick shot. Brandenburg looking to penetrate. Again, we talked about how do you beat the 1-3-1? You've got to get in between the spaces of the defenders. They're called the gaps. At Duke, our zone offense against any zone was called gaps as a reminder of what we needed to do. Hit those gaps, draw the double team. That means you've got an advantage elsewhere on the floor. Be sharp and crisp with your passes. You'll find that advantage.
Armwood is knocked to the floor. I believe Reddick is called for the personal foul. Well, GW has picked up the intensity from a defensive standpoint, and it's led to some offense.
Active hands, and you see them steal leads to transition buckets. It's what VCU normally does. George Washington saying, what's good for you works for me.
Great shot, isn't it, watching him come in like that?
Well, I love the angles under the basket. We had one earlier from the floor. Kind of threw me a little bit because we don't used to get to see that angle that often, but great work by our cameraman here today.
Reno from the baseline, Weber with the board. Leading the break, and the foul called on McDonald from behind. That's his third.
There's no need to reach right there. Briante Weber wasn't going to go anywhere. He wasn't going to penetrate. He got by you, McDonald, but you had time to recover. Recover with your feet, not with your hands.
So Graham has 3 for VCU. McDonald has 3 for George Washington. Lewis. Now to Weber, double team. Give Capriva some credit. He was able to stand his ground and misdirect that shot. So this is game 2 of the Atlantic 10 semifinal. St. Joseph's has already advanced to the final with a victory earlier today. We're live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, along with Ala Abdelnabi and Susanna Collins. I'm Tom McCarthy. Great to be with you. March Madness is alive and well in the Atlantic 10 tournament. Tomorrow, this championship at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. It'll be St. Joseph's against the winner of this one. The Hawks with a methodical victory over St. Bonaventure earlier today. Graham will check back out with 3 personal fouls as Reddick checks back in.
Looking for the quick hitter here. Larson on the baseline.
Boy, he was able to move Noel Cox a little bit there.
That's saying something.
Yeah, he got the rebound. Weber saw a little bit of daylight and his shot just didn't fall.
Great idea, just unable to knock it down. Found a little space to get the shot off in the lane. Just couldn't finish with a 4 or 5 footer.
Out of bounds, and it will be George Washington ball.
Guys, instead of blocking out or just trying to out-jump each other for that rebound, if you're fundamental and you put a body on somebody, that contest of trying to out-jump guys doesn't even have to exist. Be fundamental. Do your work early.
McDonald will inbound. And a foul called on the floor.
Coach Lonergan wants the and one. trying to convince the referee otherwise. That's called lobbying. He is at Foggy Bottom down there.
It is true.
GW is located in our nation's capital. A lot of lobbyists roaming the streets.
Mikic off the inbounds. It was partially blocked. Brandenburg got a hand on it. And here comes Lewis quickly up the floor. VCU has not scored the last 3.5 minutes, and that drought will continue.
Trying to make that interior short distance pass to Reddick. He was unable to catch it.
All Mo Cox could do was try to stop Garino from getting an easy bucket, and that's what he did. And Garino will go to the free throw line.
It's GW in transition. We're used to seeing it the other way with VCU. Garino out on the wing. One of his favorite spots out on the floor. Loves to get out on the wing wide and run. See if the opponents can keep up with him. He's had a heck of a year this year.
You know, he's a good offensive player, averaging 12.5 points per game. Mike Lonergan said he's one of the more gifted defensive players. And when he was out because of the broken finger, that's what they missed, was his ability to defend. As Maurice Creek checks back in.
As good a defender, a good a player is Keaton Savage. He's not the defender that Garino is. Garino relishes the opportunity, likes the competition on that end of the floor.
It's the first free throw, and now the second is a little too strong.
Not a great jump shooter. We mentioned how he loves to get out and run. Layups and transition is his game. Something he still needs to work on. He's only a sophomore. Now let's think about it. Him and Larson for this GW team are sophomores. So they've got many, many years in this program. They're only going to get better.
Well, Graham with his second bank shot. And now it's a three-point lead. The drought lasted 3 minutes and 55 seconds for VCU. And the foul called on Javante Reddick. We have 11 minutes and 49 seconds to decide who's going to play St. Joseph's in the Atlantic 10 final tomorrow. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Barclays Center here in Brooklyn. It is the Atlantic 10 Conference semifinals, and right now VCU leads George Washington 48-45. But right now it is time for our Aspen Dental moments that make you smile. And back in 2011, the VCU Rams were all smiles when the 11th-seeded VCU upset top-seeded Kansas in the Elite Eight to advance to the school's first-ever NCAA Final Four. And the two members of VCU's current senior class, Javante Reddick and Rob Brandenburg, they were freshmen on that 2011 team. And what a ride it has been for those VCU seniors. A 109-35 four-year record. They're appearing in their second straight Atlantic 10 semifinal. They've reached the NCAA tournament every season they've been there. And that is surely will make you smile. And for more moments that will make you smile, presented by Aspen Dental, visit cbssports.com/Aspen Dental. Tom, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Susanna, you know, games like that or teams like that do make you smile in the NCAA tournament, you know, between VCU, George Mason under Jim Lonergan, or Wichita State last year. And I have to say, you know, your Duke Blue Devils when they go to the Final Four, but when teams that are not expected go to the Final Four, that's what makes a college basketball fan smile.
The unpredictability of the whole month is what makes it fun, and these are young kids, and the bottom line is anything can happen in 2 hours. I called VCU's games in Dayton in the first 4, and I'll be honest with you, they were good beating USC, but I didn't see them making that run to the Final Four either.
McDonald's slow to get up. He's been battling the sore hip off that miss, and Briante Weber was a little too fast for that transition.
And he perhaps thought that Brandenburg would move with him as they were progressing down the court. Brandenburg, though, held his spot in the corner. Pass went right by him.
By the way, the other part of the story that Susanna was telling, I don't know if you saw those pictures of Shaka Smart on the sideline while his team was going to the Final Four. Well, he's wearing the same shirt and tie, or at least the same combination today. Maybe he's trying to get a little of the Final Four luck to get to the A10 championship.
Either that or he's got everything numbered, his ties and his suits and his socks, so they match. I know guys that have no fashion sense, they have everything numbered.
Oh, he's got fashion sense.
No, he absolutely does.
Armwood with the miss, Mo Cox with the rebound.
But he probably does have it numbered. This is my lucky outfit. I'm wearing this. Last time I wore it, our team did well. Whatever works. Huh, partner?
Absolutely. By the way, that was the first miss for Armwood.
So he's really slacking off now, huh? After being incredibly efficient and so effective earlier on.
Weber through the 1-3-1. Here's Reddick. He's been quiet today, and he's quiet no more. It's a 5-point VCU lead.
And that's something that he didn't have in his game a couple of years back. That little baseline 15-footer, adding things to his game.
UW has missed 6 straight field goals, and Reddick with the steal.
Good luck trying to get it from the 6'9", 250 Reddick.
He has been quiet these first 2 days that VCU's been here in the Atlantic 10 tournament.
He's one of the guys that was on that Final Four team, as we just mentioned in the earlier graphic.
Guarino fouls Reddick, and here we go. Reddick getting involved offensively, then defensively.
Does it on both ends of the floor. The good ball movement. Weber finds him on the baseline, knocks it down, and then on the other end, loose ball. Who comes to save the day? Give me that. Number 15, Reddick, securing the loose ball.
Briante Reddick and his running mate, Treveon Graham. Graham checks back in. Mo Ali Koch checks out. As you see the foul situation, we're halfway through the second half.
One of the qualities overlooked in Javante Reddick is his footwork. Does a great job at 6'9", 250 of moving his feet. Moves like a wingman out there. And that's one of the reasons why this havoc, full court pressure, is so effective, because he mans the back line.
Lewis for three, no good. And a blocking foul called on Lewis. Guarino gave up the shot.
Guarino looked like he was a little bit out of control, jumping to make that pass.
So VCU now over the limit. GW will be shooting for the rest of the half. 9:27 to play.
Lewis trying to take advantage of Guarino being a little bit out of control. Thought he'd have enough time to position himself and take the charge. The referees saw it different.
So now Guarino to the line. 2 for 4 today. Make it 2 for 5.
He's got a nice stroke when he stands at the free throw line. Just unable to convert them. Not known as a great perimeter jump shooter. His game is slashing and driving to the bucket. Good block by Larson.
And a little bit of a drought for George Washington. They're down by 5, but with 9 minutes, or nearly 9 minutes to play in the second half, they have a chance to cut this lead to 3 or 2, depending on the shot.
Larson had Weber on him. That's a mismatch. Mouse in the house. And good job by the GW Colonials of finding him and able to dump it down low quickly. No-brainer that time for the Colonials.
Mikic credited with that assist to make it a 3-point game. Had a timeout called by Shaka Smart. 8:34 to play. George Washington, they were in a little bit of a drought offensively, but their defense enabled their offense, at least on the last possession. They got a hand on Briante Weber, and then Larson able to run the floor and get some position for the long bounce pass and the very easy finish. Tomorrow at 1 Eastern on CBS, it's the Atlantic 10 Conference Championship between St. Joseph's and the winner of our second semifinal. Who will lift the tournament trophy here at the Barclays Center? Find out tomorrow at 1 on CBS. Let's take a look at Allah's picks to watch. Brought to you by Enterprise. Allah, take it away and tell us a little bit about St. Joseph's and what they did today.
Well, St. Joseph's led by their seniors, inside-outside game. Galloway just firing on all cylinders. But how about Kenesevich? Not known for his scoring. Today, bursts out with 26 points, 17 rebounds, had a double-double in the first half. He was incredible.
Well, St. Joseph's will enter tomorrow's final with 23 wins. Will they face Mike Lonergan's Colonials? We'll see. This has been a very tight game, to say the least. It's been 5 points or closer for all but 14 seconds.
I don't know what a fraction that is of 40 minutes, but it's very small, Tom.
I'll remind you that the only A's you'll get. Briante Weber, 2 on the shot clock. Brandenburg, whoa, boy!
That's a big shot at the end of the shot clock. I thought Mikic was going to pull up with that one. No, I wouldn't have been. Armwood looking at him like, are you out of your mind? Get the ball back out, and let's reset here.
Largest lead for VCU. chance to pop there. Instead goes to Mikic, who popped for three.
And how about the decision by Larson to not take it himself, but to get his teammates involved? Knows that Mikic is ready to shoot. Pulls up quickly, knocks it down.
Well, Mikic had 14 points yesterday in 12 minutes. He has 12 points today. Mike Lonergan said seniors step up at this time of the year.
Young kids out there who are watching Nemanja Mikic for the first time. I know it's a simple thing, but look how he's ready to shoot whenever he gets the ball. He doesn't have to get himself ready to shoot as we see Weber knock it down. Mikic ready to go at all times.
Weber called for the foul as McDonald was trying to get position.
Well, we got a 5-point lead, and how do we get that lead? VCU being efficient on offense. Good ball movement from long range. And then Briante Weber steps up, secure the lead.
Well, game number 3 in his series is usually called the rubber game. This is the rubber match between VCU and George Washington. VCU leads it 5-5. Game 2 of the Atlantic 10 semifinal. Let's take a look at today's dunk of the game, brought to you by Warner Ladder.
It's a good ball movement. Garino with the finish. Nobody blocks him out.
Our dunk of the game in game 1 was Langston Galloway, who was kind of hanging on the rim, and the ball went up and down into the basket. Nothing against that one. But Garino's dunk, I think that one was just a tad spicier than Langston Galloway.
Giving it the edge. 56 seconds of this game, with the exception of 56 seconds of this game, has been 5 points or closer, and we figured out the percentages of the minutes played thus far, as we're 6:58 left in this game, 2.7%. That I did not do myself. That is our trusty stats guy sitting over there, Mike Notaro, with the help. Thanks, Mike.
I didn't even see Mike pull out a calculator.
You know I wasn't going to figure that out myself. My head hurts already.
McDonald makes the first free throw, and this is the second. Under 7 to play. 55-51. VCU leads it by 4. Still kind of a low-scoring game, considering these two teams, right?
And this is very much a ball game right now. 4-point edge, and it doesn't seem like any team has really had any sustained runs. Let's see what happens here as we enter the last 6.5 minutes of this second half. Can a team sustain any kind of run? If they do, that might be just enough to win this game.
Burgess got Garino off his feet. Oh, pretty shot from 17.
And he started off cold, but he's found his way back in the game. The defense has helped, and then when he gets the ball reversed to him, able to knock down perimeter Jays.
Mikic, can he feel it again? No, a little too much. He tried to get past the extended arm of Brandon Berg. 3-on-2, Burgess, and he's fouled going up. So Burgess will go to the free throw line. Susanna Collins, you had a chance to listen in to Mike Lonergan's huddle during the break. What was he saying?
Yeah, Tom, he basically said that this is our game. We are not out of this one. They're down by 6, but this is a very energized bench, and he believes that they're doing everything they can. He said they're working the transition. He's happy with what they see. He keeps saying, this is our game.
Well, I will say this. We've seen a lot of games this year. We've seen a lot of games over the years. Both of these guys can work the sidelines, whether it be Shaka Smart or Mike Lonergan. They are moving all the time.
Very energetic, both of them trying to implore their team into energy out on the floor. And let's face it, that's not an easy thing to do. You want an energetic team. As the head coach, you have to be energetic all the time. That sets the tone.
Burgess misses both free throws. McDonald has 4 personal fouls, as we mentioned, walking it up the floor. The battle and the bad hit, but still has played a lot of minutes here today. Larson from the outside in. Allie Cox with the swat.
That's a confrontation at the rim between 2 grown men.
He is the best player in a VCU uniform, Treveon Graham, and he saw Some pretty good distance for that three. It starts with the block of Mo Alley Cox, the big man who could probably play on the defensive line of any college team. Sets the tone before Treveon Graham makes it louder. Shaka Smart knew that Treveon Graham was a special player, and in 3 years, he has shown why he's so special.
The ability to operate from about 20 feet on in, jump shots, penetration, gives you physical toughness as well. And today seems to be doing whatever his VCU team needs.
Think about when he was a freshman and where he is now. He's already scored more than 1,000 points, obviously, in his career, but they say he's a better player overall, greater confidence, and more than anything else, his body now fits his game.
Again, you can't be out of shape and play in this system. You have to make sure that when practice starts, you've already prepared yourself, because when you get to VCU's campus, there's nobody waiting. The train is leaving the tracks, and it's leaving at a high speed, Tom.
McDonald is hurt over by the sidelines.
He's nursing a hip injury earlier coming into this game, so you wonder if that's it or if it's something new.
After the game yesterday, Mike Lonergan talked about his depth and wondered, not only with Savage being out, and Savage has played a couple moments today, but also with the hip injury for McDonald, how much that would affect him. And he stepped right there. I mean,
yeah,
before he got rid of the ball, it looked like he was in pain.
Probably landed awkwardly on a step. Ooh, it looks like he rolled his ankle.
That's not his hip.
That is not his hip. That is his ankle, and folks, it's not supposed to roll that way. I wonder if he gets taped up by his trainers before the game. If he doesn't, I can promise you this, moving forward, he will be from now on this season. Tricky thing in the ankle, too. It can take anywhere from 2-3 days to sometimes 6 weeks, depending on how severe it is. You hope it's more of the former and that he's back out here quickly.
Game one, we talked about the depth of St. Joseph's. And George Washington is in a similar boat, although they probably they do go deeper than St. Joseph's does, but they don't have the same players that they expected at the beginning of the year all the time. Armwood has it knocked away from behind. Graham picks up the foul. That's the 19th foul and the 4th for Treveon Graham.
And you see Coach Lonergan calls over Kevin Larson, who's had an idea of the offensive set that they wanted to run, and Larson went away from Coach Lonergan's idea, his intention, his plan. He's just coming over, calling them over, just so they're on the same page again. Moving forward, wants the play run the right way. It's tough when a big guy gets the ball, Tom. We're not used to passing. The inclination is to shoot the ball. So give Larson a little bit of, be patient with the big fella.
Graham checks out with 4 fouls. Nickens checks back in for George Washington. He has 12 points today. And Armwood who made the first free throw. Now with the second. Makes it a 7-point game, 60-53.
VCU against this 1-3-1. You want to keep the ball out of the corners. The 1-3-1 is designed for trapping the corners, whether it be high or low on the baseline. And that's something that will drive coaches crazy, that reach. Move your feet and not your hands.
Well, it's 17 fouls now on George Washington. Mike Lonergan's over talking to Maurice Creek, the transfer from Indiana.
And he's saying to him, why foul him? He was gaining no advantage that time.
He's been quiet today, Maurice Creek. Special player. Had a great freshman year at Indiana when he averaged over 16 points per game.
Only 5 here tonight.
There's McDonald. Trying to stretch out that ankle, and Weber, who's had himself a good night, converts both free throws. And it's now a 10-point game for VCU. Here's Creek for 3, no good. And Burgess with the rebound. Briante Weber a couple steps in front of midcourt. You feel this game's starting to get away from GW, particularly if VCU makes a bucket here?
Well, if they do make a bucket here, and what's happened is in successive turns, they've been unable to get a score themselves, and then VCU has been good at getting some jump shots.
There it is, the offensive board and the awkward putback.
It's the largest lead for VCU by the big fella, number 12. And I just don't understand how you don't see him underneath the basket. You've got to be going to look for him if you're Kevin Larson, because that's what he wants to do. Shot goes up. Mo Ali Cox is attacking the board. See him right there. Does his work early, blocking out Garino. No one else comes to help. In traffic, the long arm of Mo Ali Cox with the finish.
Biggest, baddest man in the state of Virginia.
That's what he told us about a month ago, and you know what? I've been looking. I haven't found anybody badder.
So Creek to the line, 5 points, 5 rebounds. Creek has averaged 14 and a half.
Very silent here today. Let's give VCU a little bit of credit. McDonald checking himself back in the game.
Mikic out, McDonald did.
Two different kind of players. Mikic, a finisher. McDonald, more of the initiator of the offense. Important for him to be out there so everyone gets to their spots.
Creek makes both free throws. GW 10 of 15 from the line.
Now, excuse me, Tom. Now it's Isaiah Armwood on top of the 1-3-1. Make it a little bit difficult to swing the ball, reverse it from side to side because he is so long and lengthy. He's doing a decent job of keeping Weber in front of him as well. Although it seems like whenever Weber wants to take him, he can.
No, Ali Cox from 17, and it's no good. McDonald with the rebound. GW has missed 9 of its last 11 shots. Briante Weber falling on the ball like it's a football.
And good defense by Mo Ali Cox, covering McDonald, the perimeter player, able to keep him in front of him, resulting in the turnover. Big fella moving his feet.
14 turnovers now for George Washington.
You can see how right now Creek and Armwood are ready to pounce on that trap if and when the ball gets to their area.
Briante Weber fouled, and he'll get 2. He never left his feet. Mo Ali Cox with the tough pass. Mo Ali Cox has played very well, but Briante Weber, he is all over the hardwood. Brooklyn, New York is the site of the Atlantic 10 tournament. Game 2 of our semifinals. VCU with a 64-55 lead and hoping for a chance to move on to face St. Joseph's tomorrow. Joe McDonald has just fouled out with 3 points for George Washington. He's been battling a sore hip. He's been battling a bad ankle over the last 5 minutes or so, and now he's going to have to battle from the bench with 5 personal fouls. So the 5 on the floor for GW are Creek, Garino, Armwood, Larson, and then Cartagena. Hasn't played a whole lot today, but he's back in the ball game. And Weber goes to the free throw line.
They brought Cartagena in early in the first half to implement that 1-3-1, and then we really haven't seen much of him since then. Played spotty minutes since the beginning.
Briante Weber had himself a solid day. 15 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. He's also stolen a couple basketballs.
6 foot, 165, dripping wet.
He's going to say he may not be 165.
Yeah, and goes all day long.
He forces that turnover along Mo Ali Cox. Ali Cox wanted an alley-oop. Instead, he got position on Larson and is able to get that shot to go down. It's the largest lead of the day for VCU. It's up to 13.
Well, as he looked to pass to somebody, the defenders fanned out and left him alone. He turned around, faced the bucket, able to convert.
Armwood fouled by Reddick going up.
Here's VCU getting the steal in transition. He sees it, looks for the pass, nobody's there. takes it himself with the easy 2 off the baseline.
Kind of similar to game 1 where St. Joseph's beat St. Bonaventure. It was methodical stretching of their lead, and we're kind of getting the same personality in this one for VCU.
Slowly but surely, and what it is little bit by little bit, they're chipping away at you. And that's what their depth, that's what the numbers that they throw at you do to you, because you've got to not only match their level of intensity for 40 minutes, but when they throw fresh bodies at you, it becomes a lot harder when you have a smaller rotation. You've got to match their conditioning. And let's face it, we've covered them enough. They're about as well-conditioned a team in the country playing Division I basketball.
2 missed free throws by Armwood.
Here comes the aggressive trap right now. We haven't really seen this earlier. Looking for the steal initially. If not there, maybe the foul.
2:19 to play. Coming up right after this ball game, the Patriot League Women's Championship. Holy Cross is at Army. On the men's side, American shocked Boston University. Brennan's team moving on to the NCAA tournament in the Patriot League. We'll see what happens on the women's side.
Our guys are on that call. Jason Knapp and Chris Spatola.
What do you have in common with Chris Spatola?
Chris Spatola happens to be in the Krzyzewski family, married into the Krzyzewski family. He's married to the youngest of Coach K's daughters, Jamie, who I've known since she was an infant. Chris is a welcome part of the family. Heck of a guy. Spitty is what he's known as. But we'll call him Chris Spatola.
Treveon Graham checks out. He may be done because this is a 15-point game with 2:15 to play in the second half.
Tom, that game tomorrow is going to come quick. So rest these guys right now. Absolutely. If you have that luxury, up 15, taking advantage of the situation.
Moala Cox has had a tremendous second half defensively for VCU. He just had another block.
He was great yesterday on the defensive end of the floor. Kidded him a little bit in warm-ups. I said, that was a man's dunk you had last night. And he loved it. He goes, well, I've got more for you today. Thought he was going to give it to me right there.
Well, it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of ability to do what he's done in the second half. Watch this block.
Again, great timing. And then on the other end of the floor, shot goes up, does his work early, blocks out, and just goes to the basket like a grown man should.
Well, he is a load. That's 6'6", 250 pounds from head to toe.
But when you talk to him, he's a sweet kid, a teddy bear. You see the dejection on the GW bench, rightfully so. This season's not over for them, no.
Not at all.
They've earned, guaranteed a spot. Shouldn't say guaranteed, nothing in life is guaranteed, but they've certainly earned a spot in the NCAA tournament, so their season continues. Something to learn from today.
Cox makes both free throws. It's now a 17-point lead with 1:47 to play.
And they are still picking up full court. They're not trapping, but they're picking up full court. They've got 7 different presses that they like to implement. A lot of them are for steals. This one that they're using now, just to take up a little time. And GW content to play along.
Carino stops and his jumper is off the mark. Brandenburg with the rebound.
Almost a high dribble that time by Jaquan Lewis.
Eventually the winner of this one, and it's going to be VCU. He's going to play St. Joseph's tomorrow, 1 o'clock on CBS in the A10 championship. This has been a 19-5 run, and Armwood fouls Lewis with 6 on the shot clock. Well, we saw VCU against St. Joseph's earlier this year, and in all honesty, I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. 1 Eastern tomorrow on CBS.
Well, I think earlier in the season when we did that game at St. Joe's at Hawk Hill, you and I were a little surprised because it was basically a dominant display by the St. Joe's Hawks. VCU tried to get themselves back in the game to no avail, but this is a neutral site. different setting, different environment. It's going to make for a heck of a matchup tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Oh, Ollie Cox has had a heck of a second half. Over with an embrace of Melvin Johnson, who injured his knee in the first half. That's a huge loss for VCU.
And you've got to feel for Melvin Johnson, but if there is a silver lining to this, he's not going to be going through this alone. That's the great dynamic of being on a team where you're a part of something greater than just you. He's going to get tons of support from his teammates, and they're going to give him what he needs right now, some love by his brothers.
Lewis to the free throw line. Makes the first, or makes the second, I should say.
No smiles on that Colonial bench.
No, they wanted respect, and they said that even after last night's ball game. And I think they've earned it. I think that people do have respect for them, and they'll be a tough matchup in the NCAA tournament.
And the way they've comported themselves today, with the exception of perhaps the last 10 minutes, nothing to be ashamed of. VCU, just the better team today, able to play to their strengths all afternoon long, for the most part.
Whistle blows. Foul called against VCU. That's the first on Burston. Cartagena to the line. And he'll get a couple free throws. Five for 9 from the free throw line. Shaka Smart can finally relax, at least for today.
My coaches never relax.
I was going to say, I said that, and I wanted to grab it back, put it back in my mouth.
I think that's part of the job description, not allowed to relax.
20 seconds and counting, and Virginia Commonwealth, ranked #1 in the preseason poll. They came in as the #2 seed here in the Atlantic 10 tournament. They have closed out with a 21-5 run, and they will advance to the Atlantic 10 Finals tomorrow afternoon against St. Joseph's as they win it 74-55. It's their second year in the Atlantic 10, and it will be their second time in the Atlantic 10 Championship. Melvin Johnson injured in the first half. A spectator watching his team win comfortably over George Washington. We'll be back right after this.